Welcome back to TYT Sports, everybody. Jason Rubin and Andre Snelling's here with you to continue our conversation regarding the position-by-position breakdown of the greatest shooting guards of all time. Hashtag NBA rank was trending all this last week. At this point, this last month, according to ESPN, number 10 greatest shooting guard of all time was Earl the Pearl Monroe. Number 9, Reg. Really should be his sister. At number 8, Ray Allen. I cracked myself up, guys. At number 7, George Gervin. Number 6, Allen Iverson. Number 5, Clyde the Glide Drexler. Number 4, D. Wade. Number 3 goes to Jerry West. And as we did with the point guards, we give you the breakdown of 3, 2, and 1. A little more info if you'd like to get it in terms of Jerry West. So Jerry West, no big deal. Just Laker legend, 60s and 70s. No big deal. Just the logo, right? Finals MVP. He was voted the first Finals MVP, if I'm correct. That was the first time they ever did it, and they gave it to a losing team. And then they started to change that and say, no, maybe the winner of the team who wins should get the Finals MVP. LeBron got close last year. Won championship in 1972. And if you checked out the point guards clip, please do. It's linked in the clip here. Andre made the great point because he felt that he maybe should have been on the point guard side of things. What amazes me most about Jerry West is how he switched to point guard late in his career and led the league in assist average. It's a pretty good player. Number 2. Number 2 is Kobe Bryant. I don't know why I lost my train of thought there. Kobe, what else could you say about him? It's the retirement tours going on right now. We're shooting this on the day of his 81-point game anniversary against the Toronto Raptors, which has been on Hardwood Classics all week. It's great. And one of the quotes that sums it up from Reisinger on the ESPN rank was Kobe the next Michael Jordan? Not quite. But he came as close as anyone who tried and created a legend on his own in the process. It does accurately sum him up. He made difficult shots, sometimes with ease, which made no sense. He's one of the greatest scorers of all time. We know that. There's enough to say about Kobe. And the only person who trumps Kobe, according to ESPN, and should trump everybody in the history of the league, Michael Jordan. Man, Michael. What else to say about Michael? 6 championships, retired in the middle of it. Number 23 is owner of some of the most legendary shots in NBA history. The shot versus the Cavs. The identical shot against the Utah Jazz. 30 years now of Michael Jordan's prowess in the sneaker market. Oh, my God. His all-defensive team selection, his steals, I can go on. And the quote that comes with it was from Micah Adams. People understandably talk about his 6 championships and 10 scoring titles. But Jordan once reeled off 10 triple-doubles in an 11-game stretch and led the NBA in scoring and steals in the same season 3 times. Unbelievably talented on both ends of the floor. One of the most complete players to ever play the game. Andre, we continue the conversation. Was there anybody snubbed, and do you agree with the order?
Jump man. I just had to say that because you were talking about Jordan. I think the shooting guards is an interesting list because I was mentioning before, I was on a project where we made our own top 100 list. And there's a bigger gap between 1 and 2 on the shooting guard list than there was for any other position on our list, from Jordan at 1 all the way down to Kobe at 13. And I think some of that is because Jordan really changed the way shooting guard was played. Shooting guard was a role player position for most of history. The shooting guard shot. That's what he did. He stood outside and he made shots. Jordan came in and said, no, your shooting guard can do everything. So you notice a lot of the players on this list are more from the modern time because they kind of patterned their game after Jordan. Mm-hmm. For me, I think Jerry West at 3, I think that's respect, but you can make the case that he could be 2 because he was dominant in his own time, and he would probably be even more dominant now because he is essentially a Steph Curry type. He can shoot from 30 feet, but that was only worth 2 points when he played.
Right.
Now those would all be 3s. And so, he's one that could have gone higher up the list. I think based on the fact that Steph Curry was in the top 4 of the last list, it seems as though they're really waiting peak. And if you're waiting peak, I think Tracy Mcgrady has an argument to be in this top 10 because Tracy Mcgrady in 2003 was very arguably as good as any shooting guard we've seen since Jordan in any year of their career. So he's one that at least I would have liked to see get some mention.
They asked D'Angelo Russell who's the greatest of all time. He said Tracy McGrady. But you're not maybe, I mean, it's all opinion, I get it, but, good for D'Angelo. Mm-hmm. No, T-Mac was a hell of a shooting guard. I mean, that's not the best way to even put it. The guy could score at will. His 13 points in whatever it was, to 30 seconds for the Houston Rockets, iconic with the Magic, iconic with his cousin Vince Carter on the Raptors as well. I wanted to highlight two quick things. Whereas Steph Curry was ranked number 4 as the greatest point guard of all time on the point guards list, and Dwyane Wade was ranked number 4 in the greatest shooting guards of all time, I feel like they got Dwyane Wade right. And I say that, and of course, no disrespect to Clyde. They can swap those, and it's not a huge deal. But there's one specific thing about Wade, his adaptability. This is the same thing that Tim Duncan's been able to do at a legendary level for his entire career. Dwyane Wade welcomed in Shaq, adapted to what he needed to do to win title with him, and that worked. And then even more so, where he was top dog in Miami, owned the city, willingly gave over the keys to the city, to LeBron James, and it resulted in 4 straight trips to the finals and 2 titles in that one as well. I am a huge Dwyane Wade supporter, always been, loved him on Marquette, and he had so many semblances of Michael Jordan's game. He had a little bit of Kobe in him. He had the ball handling skills. If it wasn't for his knees kind of starting to give out, he slowed down, the clock started to affect him, he could have had, he's one of the best could-have stories. Where would he have finished if he could play at the level that Duncan, I know it's a big man, but Jordan played at for a longer period of time. So I thought Wade was in there. I think McGrady was the one snub I really had on that list, but for everything else, I think they got a lot of it right. You got to be insane to argue MJ's not the greatest shooting guard of all time. I would love to see someone try, but if you would like to, you could do it in the comments section below. Someone once commented
Actually,
that.
Before you cut off, I just realized, what position do they have Havlicek? Do they not have him on the shooting guard list?
I don't think so. They
I
don't
didn't realize that. I have him as a shooting guard. Maybe they have him a small forward, and so then that changes things. But if he's a shooting guard, I absolutely think he should be somewhere in the top 10.
I would agree. That's actually a good point. Well, when we get to the small forwards, we'll see if he shows up there. But if not, he should definitely be in the shooting guard. Such a different time for basketball. Really fun to watch those games, though, on the Hardwood Classics, as I mentioned 1,000 times, and YouTube videos. But in general, comment below. I was going to mention, Andre, someone once commented that Michael Jordan is not the greatest player of all time. He's not even top 10. And I my head almost exploded. But that's okay, because we have some crazy commenters, and we have some great ones, as always. Jumpman's on there.
He was obviously trolling.
Of course. MJ, he's like the 24th greatest player of all time. I'm joking. Comment below.
So I will say, yes, comment below. I could argue against Jordan as number 1, but I can't argue him not in the top 10.
Andre, I can't let you argue Jordan's not number 1. I can't let you do it, man. I can't.
That could be the show next week.
My heart hurts. My heart hurts. Like, favorite, subscribe to the video. Head over to Andre at rotowire.com and check out the Hoops Lab, as we've been plugging him all week. Great articles, great stuff over there. And if you need help with your daily fantasy lineups as well, he's been doing that weekly. So check that stuff out. At TYT Sports on Twitter, at Professor DRZ for Andre, at Jason91. Back again soon with the small forwards, power forwards, and centers. We'll see you next time.